what did you think of Jules? First of all, tell us the story of Jules.
Okay, I saw it a month ago, so I'll do my best here. But it stars Ben Kingsley as an old man who lives in a small town, and every week during the city council meeting, he makes the same complaint about the slogan of the town he lives in. And people are starting to feel like maybe that in his older age, he's starting to lose a little bit of his mental capacity there, and maybe slipping into dementia or Alzheimer's. And his daughter is kind of, there to kind of support him. And so he's an older man who's just not taken very seriously. And then one day, a alien spaceship crashes into his backyard, and an alien pops out. And the alien's not dressed well, so he gives him a nice T-shirt to wear, like a Film Threat T-shirt, and names him Jules. And so he talks about Jules being there, and people, of course, think he's just old. And then let's see, Jane Curtin is in the movie. Her character kind of stumbles in, realizes there's an alien in your living room, and there's another actress, I can't remember her name. Same thing. And so now it's about these three older senior citizens who are basically taking care of this alien and becoming its friend, and just kind of giving it a few guidance about what it's like to be human. So it's I appreciate the attempt. We talked about it's a science fiction movie that says something. It's not as good as a Pod Generation. I haven't seen Jane Curtin in a long time. Big fan of Jane Curtin back from the SNL days. And so that's basically my feelings about Jules. It's a nice, serviceable film, but it's not going to win any awards, so to speak.
Well, there's a couple things about it. Like the Ben Kingsley plays this character that he's on the early stages of dementia. He befriends the alien, but kind of just doesn't think much of it. And he eats apples. The alien loves apples. I think if you're dealing with parents that are struggling with health issues and living alone, this movie might hit different. So because that's really what it's about. It's like it's almost like the alien is a subplot to the dealing with older parents.
Yeah, and you're absolutely right about that. Absolutely.
The alien's like this weird subplot, and they're collecting. You find out later in the movie, he wants them to collect dead cats because he keeps drawing a picture of cats, and they're collecting dead cats, which ends up being what? Fuel for the spaceship. This is not a joke. It felt like in the sort of like it's played in this sort of whimsical, fanciful way. If you watch the trailer for Jules is very much in tone to the movie, and it feels like you know what I felt like after finishing watching it. It felt like a Hallmark. If Hallmark Channel made a science fiction movie, it would be this movie, and it felt weird. Then the aliens.
It's the Hallmark version of Cocoon. Let's put it that way.
Yeah, the Hallmark version of Cocoon, but not nearly as entertaining. When they put the alien, what's funny is the alien is sort of this bizarre looking creature, whatever. Like you see it they just show it in the trailer. When they put the shirt on him, he looks like even more naked with the shirt because he's only wearing a shirt, and it looks bizarrely sexual. It was just like someone only wearing a shirt. It's like, I'd rather see a fully naked alien than an alien wearing a shirt that it suggests nudity, because the suggested nudity is worse than the alien being completely naked. Does that make any sense at all to you?
Yeah, I mean, it's the shirt is there for the joke because of what's written on the shirt or what kind of shirt he puts on. It's in improv when you're stuck in a scene and an alien shows up out of nowhere. That's kind of how I felt at the end of this movie. It was just kind of like, here's a story. It'll be weird if we put an alien in it, and we did.
Right. Well, look, I wasn't super blown away by this film. I would give it a mixed to negative review, leaning on the negative, especially after Pod Generation. You have a choice between Pod Generation or Jules. 100% go see the Pod Generation. Jules, I think, is just, in my opinion, dismissible. And not the kind of, this isn't the kind of, it's a science fiction movie that doesn't ask interesting questions that you and I would have a conversation beyond it. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Like, I like science fiction where you're actually discussing questions that the movie brings up. It's like, a movie about older parents on the edges of dementia, and an alien is thrown in for good measure, and they all learn something and become better people. Right? Like it felt a little too heartwarming, and the way that they just sort of accept that this alien is here and not make a big deal out of it seems a little dopey. And
there's a seriousness that it projects that is not addressed and is kind of made fun of, and it's not taken seriously. And that's when I think you kind of detach yourself from the overall story of the film, when just there's a lot of incongruent things going on in that story, and that happens here.
Right. So Jules is a pass for me. Alan, what about you?
Yeah, it's a bear. Yeah, I walk the line because again, Ben Kingsley's got a good performance here, and Jane Curtin. That's probably the only reason I would recommend the movie are those two people.
All I could think when I saw Jane Curtin was when she would do that sketch with Dan Aykroyd. And Dan Aykroyd, and he would say to her during this is the Weekend Update news segment on SNL.
It was a debate. It was a political debate that they were going
political debate, and he would always retort, "Jane, you ignorant slut." And I love that. I love that. I love the old school SNL. But yeah, no, it's a pass for me. And also, I would recommend if you want to see good science fiction, see The Pod Generation.